Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training and Prints. There you go, good boy. And we're just still loading him with a clicker and getting used to the routine and pattern, right? Good boy, come on Prince. Good boy. Good. Up, Prince. Prince. Up. Up. Good boy, good boy. Good boy, good. Good boy, good. Good boy, good. Good. Good boy, yep. Good boy. Good. We're getting used to the balls and the explosion release to build drive, right? He's got drive, that's for sure. Nope. Good. They're also very intelligent dogs. These coon hounds are smarter than all get out. That's why you hear stories all the time about the dog getting out of the kennel and getting his way out. Being too smart for their own good, finding ways to climb out, all kinds of things. They're very smart and intelligent dogs. Good. So the trick here is to make sure that he thinks he's getting what he wants and he's training you. Because he's always going to be a strong-willed dog with a high intelligence, and if you don't do it right, you'll end up getting conflict with the animal and he will be defiant and not want to work for you and be struggling. It's kind of what I'm dealing with that shepherd back there. She's been taught to basically get her way. She trained the owner, so I've got to work my way through that. If you do the right development with the puppy in the right way, the dog always going to go your way, and they've learned to learn, right? And to be compliant. Good boy. Good boy. I'm waiting for one little step. I can get him to figure it out. And we're going the opposite way, and most dogs are right-sided. If I go the other way, watch, he'll probably do it. Most dogs are just like you and I. There's more right-handers in the world than there is left-handers, right? Good boy. And that's all this is, right hand, left hand. Prince, Prince. Good boy, good, yay! And I got to get him into a toy. I forgot my toy right now, but that's all right. There's the right? He's more adept at that already. Trying to wait him out. Nope, nope. Good boy, Princess. Good boy, Princess. Oh, good boy. Good. The whole idea here is to get him used to that. The right answer gets him what you want, what he wants. He's locked. There you go. Good boy, but he stepped off it. All right, hup. Time to break. Go to other things. Come back to what you're trying to work on. If you struggle too long and they're shutting down on you like that and you're not getting anywhere, you need to get away from it. Go to some other things. Mix up. Come back to it. Yeah. Don't be so worried about succeeding right away. This is all about baby steps. My food's a little gunky this morning, wet. My hands are all nasty. Yep, good boy, good, yay. Next session, I'll bring a toy. Yeah. Up, up. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, good. Good boy. Notice I'm not saying anything to the dog as far as the command word yet. We don't give the word until after he's got it mastered to the degree that we want it. And then when we got what we want, then we teach him the word. The reason is clarity. We don't want anything that's going to confuse the issue. My voice tone, my attitude, my frustration coming from my emotions will go right down the leash to him. That's why we keep it out of there. Right? Let the dog learn to work on his own. And that's a hard one. Dropping food on the ground for him is going to be a real tough one because he's got a nose that goes to the ground with everything he does. Nature of the beast. The other thing with these dogs is they've been bred to bay. That means to be making noise the whole time and excitement, chasing after the animal. They tree the animal and they tell you where it's at by all their behavior of baying. That means barking, all right? And that barking is going to be a problem for the rest of his life. It's the nature of the beast, right? You're not going to really be able to teach him to be quiet that much. I'm doing it now. I'm doing separation as much as I can so that the dog learns to be separated from me and not get so handler dependent or handler dependency, right? Handler bound is what they call it. With a dog like this, he really enjoys companionship. He's a pack animal. This dog especially is used to running in a pack. That's part of his nature of the beast again, right? So he wants to be around his pack. So if you give him too much of that when they're puppies and you coddle him and you think he's all cute, you're going to create a monster, because when you get done with it, this dog is going to be bang every time you leave the room. He already is doing it to me. So I'm working on it real heavy using dog psychology, putting him away in different areas, telling him quiet, and then letting him bark himself out where he doesn't get what he wants. If he learns that he can bark and then get a response from you that gets him what he wants, he's going to do that all the time. Remember, it's the nature of the beast. It's the breed of the animal. He's been bred to bay. He's been bred to bark, right? It's always going to be something you have to deal with, the nature of the beast, right? So be careful what you ask for when you pick a dog, that you're trying to have something that meshes with you and your lifestyle, right? This is a great little dog, but he's been bred to hunt. He's been bred to do things. And in that breeding comes different characteristic traits, right? The old days, we would try to stamp these things out of the dog. We would use corrections for dogs that would be digging in the backyard. Dogs that dig, beagles, certain breeds that really have a tendency to go to ground and go after the varmints are your terrier breeds, right? Those breeds have been instinctively already in DNA, has got that stamp. It's the nature of the beast, right? That being the case, the old days, we would try to go out and drive through with corrections and punish this behavior away from the dog. We've learned over the years that it's not really as conducive as if you did something like give the dog a sandbox and teach him where to dig and let him out, let that natural behavior in that area that you teach him to dig in, and everything else is off limits, right? Except that area he's supposed to dig in, and hopefully if you do it right, the dog will go to that area and outlet that natural tendency within the breed type, the nature of the beast, right? So you have to be cognizant and aware of that and realize that this dog is always going to be one to bark. So you get somebody like me, a trainer, and you say, I want to teach him not to bark. Well, it's going to be something you're always struggling with for the life of the dog. We're not magicians. We're people that understand dog psychology and how a dog thinks, and we get into the breed type and we understand the nature of the beast, and we work within those channels, within those drives, those drive states that make this animal what he is. We work with that. We shape it, we form it, but we don't squash it out of the dog. You can't. It is who the dog is. You can do this stuff when they're younger and set this stuff when they're young so that you get away from these natural tendencies as much as you possible, and you don't let them make the mistake of letting them get ingrained and only compounding or increasing the problem because of your lack of knowledge and understanding, right? Be careful what you ask for, okay? You're going to probably darn well get it, right? Boy. Yeah. But the fact that this guy is so intelligent gives me something to work with. But I'm very cognizant and aware. Another thing, this dog is a dog that hunts. So he's used to going large amounts of distance away from his owner and ranging out. That's going to be a problem if I let him get away with it. So if I let him off leash and I start saying, Prince, come, Prince doesn't listen to me because his brain is in the ground, pretty soon this dog is going to learn not to respond to you, right? So that's true with all dogs, but again, the nature of the beast, we have to understand the breed type and what drives this animal so that we're going to make sure we don't make that mistake. What's the answer to that? Don't let him off a leash. Don't let him start that behavior, and make sure you start ingraining other behavior that's going to work for you. Like this one, Prince. Right away, I click and I give him a reward. Prince. I click and I give a reward. I make sure I get that ingrained behavior, very, very much ingrained, with a happy state of mind, letting him come into my hand, or Prince and then throw a ball the other way, run away from him so I create excitement. All the things that I need to do to create a good retrieve, coming back to me, a good come, right? I make sure I practice on that. I really put a lot of emphasis on that because I know the nature of the beast, right? So if you get my point, what I'm trying to point out here is that you really need to be aware of the dog that you're picking and what gives them their drives and their mental states of mind within the breed type that you're picking, right? And that's what we've got here is a good example of that, because this dog has definite, distinct breed types within the dog. Prince, good boy, good, yay. So I'll do a lot of that when he's with me, and making sure we work on that, making sure we reach on teaching him to be as quiet as we can so he understands it. We'll use dog psychology the best we can. I always go to the cage on his kennel when he's not barking. I don't let him be barking when I go out there and let him out. I never let him out unless he's being quiet. Try to catch those moments that the dog is not barking when I go to the crate and let him out. All these little tricks that all relate to overcoming behaviors that could get established really easy if you don't do the right thing. And that's what most people do. They don't understand that, and they do all kinds of things the dog picks up on, and they create these behaviors. And then if you go along with a dog like this, and you're going into areas like the dog's barking, so you let him out of the kennel, or not having enough separation where the dog learns to be by himself, knowing that the dog is going to range and not have a tendency to not want to come back to me because his nose is going to take over and his brain's going to be into the ground. I need to get this stuff established now when they're babies, and that's what we do. We create behavior, we create behavior, we create behavior, that now the customer has something to work with when he goes home. And I will do everything I can to try to educate that customer in regards to that, so he has that in his mind when he's working this animal and understands the nature of the beast and realize that I'm not a magician. I can't go poof and change the dog's DNA. The dog is what the dog is. His drives, his instinctive behavioral traits within the breed are always going to be there. They're always going to be something you need to worry about and be aware of, right? We're going to not compound it because we are aware of it in the beginning. Okay? Very important. Good boy. Prince. Good boy. Good. Yay. Good boy. That's a good boy. So we're going to be doing the toy today, bringing out the toy and getting him real excited, trying to get him high on that. And the click and the reward, so we get him, we flood him with that click and reward so he gets more of that. Click means food's coming to you, right? And then coming to you. So we establish these things within his little cranium, within his mind, that these behaviors were going to help us for the rest of this dog's life. Very important. That's why I say to you that I don't really worry about heel, sit down, stay. Those behaviors are secondary to understanding where the dog's head's at in the work. How many times have I said that? Where's the dog's head at in the work? Well, in this case, and in all cases for that matter, the dog is a product of what he is in his DNA and his breeding. So that's where the dog's head's at in the work. That's where I come at it, right? And I address these things that I naturally pick up on instinctively, and I make sure I get enough behavior going that we have something to work with as we go. Heel, sit down, stay, the behaviors of behavior of downing, sitting, heeling, all that stuff will come with time as we're working the animal. But we got to concentrate on the rest of it first and then kind of meld it in and weave it together, just like you're braiding a rope. Get it tighter and tighter and tighter so you got some good solid foundation, good solid communication baseboard that you've got to work with the animal. That's what a professional gives you more than anything else, right? So you as a customer and not understanding that, your concept is what you see on TV, Rin Tin Tin and Lassie, seeing dogs do cute behaviors. There's one guy that's got a Malinois. He's a professional trainer. He's hell on wheels. That Malinois does all kinds of things. So for you to think that you can be as good as he is with 20, 30 years of experience, maybe even more, is a hard fetch. Speaking of fetch, he's grabbed the ball thing. All right, Mark Ferrasci, Pro Tech Dog Training, signing off with Prince. So talk to you later.